and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing an interesting video. I'm really excited to talk about it. So today I'm going to be talking about the geography of Beyond the Wall. Don't click off in boredom. So today I'm going to be talking about what's beyond the wall, kind of doing a little bit about the geography, and then we're going to get into the fun speculation that is always my favourite part of any video. So we're going to be talking mainly about the lands of always winter and then what could be beyond. So I think this is going to be a really interesting topic to talk about. I'll be mentioning the White Walkers a little bit, linking it a little bit to season 7. So let's just jump right in. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, requests, comment below and I will get back to you. Okay, so Beyond the Wall. As we know, the wall was built thousands and thousands of years ago by Brandon the Builder, and he built it to keep out the White Walkers. That was the primary intent behind it. Since then, kind of the message has got a little bit lost in translation, and it is seen as a tool to keep back the Wildlings. Now, the Wildlings initially lived among the Westerosi people because there was no wall. It was just an endless stretch of kind of continent. However, when the wall was built, basically anyone on the wrong side of the wall was then labelled a wildling because they were kind of beyond the wall. You know what? I feel bad for the wildlings. I mean, they ended up on the wrong side and the cold, nasty, unhospitable side, and now they're just trying to get over to the nice bit, and everyone hates them for it. Like, not cool, not cool. But yeah, so Beyond the Wall, there are various different places, but it's mainly uncharted. Few people other than Night's Watchmen have ever kind of gone past and tried to see what's out there, and a lot of, rangers who go any further than the norm actually end up dead. It's extremely unhospitable conditions. Even during summer, there's a lot of ice, it's frozen, it's very difficult to live there. There's no agricultural production beyond the wall, so most people rely on hunting, and it's an extremely difficult place to live, point blank. That's why the free folk are some hard motherfuckers. So let's just refer to my map, which I always love doing. So we have the wall, this is here. I will also throw up an official map on screen when I want to reference certain areas, but for now, let's use this bad boy. I'm going to pay a $5 for it. Got to get my money's worth. So we have the wall here, and obviously Castle Black and Eastwatch by the Sea and the Shadow Tower here. So the wall spans along, and it's actually considered one of the greatest man-made structures in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire because it is a massive, amazing construction. So past there, we have the Haunted Forest. Now, the Haunted Forest actually spans quite a long while past the wall. It is the Night's Watch's job to kind of keep it trimmed back so that it's not encroaching on the wall and they can kind of see what's going on. Unfortunately, with a lack of rangers, that's kind of fallen by the wayside, and the Haunted Forest is bigger than ever. So it kind of spans all the way up. Then up here we have the Fang Mountains. They are a mountain range and they conclude at the lands of the Fen. The Fang Mountains are considered mainly inhospitable because they are so cold and it is very difficult to live there. However, there's been a speculation that there are some areas that are heated by volcanic activity, and some free folk tribes actually live there quite happily, undiscovered, hunting for their food, and perhaps they're still living there, It's kind of been suggested on the show that the White Walkers have driven all the free folk out and they've come to fight for Jon Snow now. But it is also considered that there are some free folk tribes that have not been found, either by the White Walkers or by the Night's Watch. Possibly living in the Fang Mountains, living in areas that kind of the White Walkers haven't encroached upon yet, and there could still be some men and women living beyond the wall. So I think that'd be quite interesting if that's the case, that actually some free folk have managed to hold out and they're kind of living among the Fang Mountains, they're kind of very tough and hearty and they're not really getting involved. I mean, really, if you think about it, when the White Walkers come down to Westeros, probably the safest place to be is beyond the wall. Well, when the wall comes down. Probably the safest place to be is up top. The White Walkers have been living there for thousands of years. They ain't going to want to go back there for a while. So I think probably the safest place is, if it was me and I was living, I was living in the Dreadfort or Hornwood or somewhere in the north, you know what, as soon as the White Walkers come down, I'm getting a ship, I'm going up. Because they've left that, they're not going back. Logic. So yeah, so we have that's the basic geography of kind of the main areas beyond the wall. But then of course the main area I want to talk about, we have the lands of always winter. So up here we have the Bay of Ice, then we have the frozen shore, and then the lands of always winter. As you can see kind of on my map, a lot of areas, like you can see forest, you can see mountains. The lands of always winter is a blank canvas. That is because it is completely uncharted. It's actually considered that no one has ever been there except for the White Walkers. And that's considered to be where the White Walkers have been hiding for these thousands of years they've been dormant. Now, the lands of always winter are considered to be frozen in winter all year round. Regardless of whether it's summer, spring, winter, it's always fucking freezing cold up there. No wonder the White Walkers are grouchy and want to leave. So no one's ever been there except for the White Walkers. No one really knows what it's like. Could be fun. fucking, I don't know, candy cane trees and shit? No one knows, because the White Walkers live there and no one wants to fuck with those guys. So there has been one view into the Lands of Always Winter, and that was by Bran Stark. He had a vision about the Lands of Always Winter, and he said it was like looking into the heart of winter. Now, we all consider this a metaphor. Me, I think it could actually be true. Perhaps that is where kind of the main kind of heart magic of winter is. We know that the world of A Song of Ice and Fire is magical, and we know that there are other references to places of power. So there is the Ashai, which isn't on my map, unfortunately. It's called the Heart of Darkness. So it's possible that there are kind of magical areas in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire that are more concentrated than others. And it could be that the Lands of Always Winter is one of these. Now, Ashai, if we reference Melisandre, for example, Melisandre lived in Ashai and said it was where her powers felt most powerful. However, then she ended up on the wall and she said her powers felt even more powerful there than they had in Ashai. That could be because of our proximity to the Lands of Always Winter, that maybe one of these kind of magical hubs, shall we say, in A Song of Ice and Fire. I definitely think that that's the case, that there are areas in the Song of Ice and Fire world that kind of are more magically potent than others, and the Lands of Always Winter is one of them. So, yeah. Now, I want to talk a little bit briefly. I'm going to keep this video quite short, you guys, because it isn't kind of the most hearty topic. It's really hard to discuss something when no one knows anything about it. But yeah, so the idea is that Beyond the Wall is actually the size of Canada, George R. R. Martin has said. And if I show up an official map now, we don't see the size of Canada past the wall. We haven't seen the whole thing. There is stuff past the Lands of Always Winter. There is stuff past the Frostfang Mountains. It could be that it's so inhospitable that no one has ever gone there, not even the White Walkers. It could be that it is all completely barren land and it's completely, you know, it's not even worth talking about in the story. Or it could be that there's more stuff up there. Now, we know there have been quotes about the wall, and there's been quotes about Beyond the Wall saying, you know, that is where all the mystical creatures live. It's where kind of the White Walkers and the Children of the Forest and the Giants went after the Dawn Age. So it's possible that there's all kinds of other stuff out there that hasn't even been discovered yet, you know, other crazy creatures, other species. There could be people up there living in harmony that we don't even know about. But yeah, I think the most interesting part Beyond the Wall is definitely the Lands of Always Winter. We know the White Walkers have kind of been living there while they were staying dormant. It was presumed that's where they were created and that's where they came from. But the show kind of contradicted that when they said that the Children of the Forest made the White Walkers. So maybe that's just where they've been staying. We know that the White Walkers actually raised children. They've raised Craster's children. Perhaps that's where they're raising them. Perhaps that's just kind of their homeland, shall we say. You know, on the show we've only ever seen like 4 or 5 White Walkers at any one time. It could be that there are many, many more living in the Lands of Always Winter. It could be that, you know, this kind of, you know, we've always relied on the idea that the White Walkers use the Whites to do their bidding. What if when the White Walkers march on the wall, there's actually hundreds of them who've been staying in this kind of dormant place where no one else ever goes? I mean, it's an easy place to hide out when no one else ever goes there. So I think it's really, really interesting to me, the idea that the Lands of Always Winter is this hub of magical activity where this mystical being of White Walkers is living, and that there could be many more than we've ever thought of. Now, I want to talk a tiny little bit about what else could be beyond. Now, obviously, I don't know, guys. This isn't some big reveal that me and George R. R. Martin are BFFs and I know what's going on. It's not going to happen. But, you know, there is more. There is more past the Lands of Always Winter and past the Haunted Forest and the Frostfang Mountains and the Land of the Fen. There is more stuff. Again, it could be barren, it could be it's not worth talking about, or it could be significant. You know, in my What's West of West video, I kind of speculated the idea that Westeros isn't a sole continent. You know, it was once joined with Essos by the Arm of Dawn before it was shattered by the Children of the Forest. What if it joins with Essos through the top as well? Hear me out. So as we know, Essos drops off the map. We never see the actual end of it, as does Westeros. So what if, you know, Westeros somehow... Please suspend reality for a moment. What if somehow Westeros actually curves around and joins with Essos? Crazy stuff. We have to remember that so much of the world has been unexplored. You know, most of the east of Essos is uncharted. Most of the north of Westeros is uncharted. What if they somehow join? What if they somehow meet up? And there is actually this one network that no one has ever discovered. Problem is, I don't know how anyone would ever discover that because, no one's really going that far north. It could be that someone ends up going that far east and kind of discovers that the two are actually linked. Could be, I think if anything that will be explored a lot more in the books. I don't think they really have time in the show to kind of be talking about the geography of stuff, but it could be that George R. R. Martin introduces that in the books, that someone finds out there's this actual passage between the east of Essos and the north of Westeros. I think that'd be so interesting and another kind of bit of information that is really, really amazing. I mean, it's never been confirmed, it's never kind of even been you know, talked about very much, but it could be that that is what goes on. But Beyond the Wall is the size of Canada. It could easily be that that's a route where Essos and Westeros join, and I think that'd be so good. I think that'd be so, so cool. So yeah, kind of guys, that's everything I have for you today. I know this video didn't really have a whole lot of substance, but I just kind of wanted to speculate a little bit and talk about the area beyond the wall. I think it's really interesting and I would love to learn more. I'm one of those weirdos who loves kind of not just the plot of Game of Thrones, I love all the extra little bits. I love the geography, the banking, the finance, the resources, the armies. I think it's so interesting and it's so different because so many writers don't go to the trouble to write all of that stuff. You know, George R. R. Martin has books worth and books worth of backstory and information and little bits and blah blah blah. I think it's awesome that he goes that far with the story. It makes it so different from anything else. So yeah, comment below what you think is going on north of the wall, whether you think there's any more, whether you think there is this idea between the Essos, Westeros kind of merging. I know it's a little bit out there. So let me know what you think. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Give a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. I will be back in a few days, if not in a week, with something new, and I'll see you soon, guys. Bye!